How'd that work out?
Yeah.
Pretty good decision, I would say. Not only has he spaced the floor for Giannis all year, but 29 points. He was on one in that fourth quarter. He hit the big three to cut it down to one, had a huge block, a board. It really was terrific. Speaking of terrific, two Hall of Famers here at Detroit basketball. President accounted for Zeke G. Hill. I'm with them. We've got a lot to get to here from coaches and players along the way here on Game Time, but let's start with Lopez. Zeke, you know this. I mean, even as stars, you got to have the others step up, and sometimes they got to give you one game in a series to get you there. This may be the one for the whole playoffs, but it's a big one because he really helped will them to this win.
Not only did he help will them to this win, but you got to give him credit for totally revamping his game. You know, he was an all-star as a post-up center in this league. And as the game changed, he had to develop a three-point shot. And not only did he develop it, but he became a deadly weapon for Milwaukee. And when you look at his play tonight, you know that you're not surprised that he played well, because at one point in time in his career, he was a pillar and a carrier for a team that they went and they played through him. And tonight he stepped up big and he remembered some of those big moments that he had.
We talked, G, about second chance points and all those things that matter, especially if you're a team that shoots threes, which the Bucks do and normally do well, only 25% tonight. Part of this story you're going to hear from us. But, G, you talk about Lopez, 4 blocks, 11 boards to go along with the 29 points, didn't turn the ball over, helped force a couple of turnovers, was good defensively. I mean, this is the kind of night you're looking for when you need some help and don't have that Giannis kind of a night, because for Giannis, kind of pedestrian 7 of 16 with 24 points tonight.
Yeah, you know, I think Lopez and his overall activity, I mean, obviously he hit some big shots, but as you said, offensive rebounding, block shots, his presence was felt all over the court. And he just played big. I mean, I love what Isiah said in terms of changing his game as a young player. As a young player in his late 20s, you know, deciding, okay, I'm going to embrace the change of the game and start shooting more threes, but also have some toughness, 11 boards, just his energy, his activity. You said it best. He willed his team, and his team needed that because they were, you know, out of sorts, out of rhythm. The time off maybe hurt them a little bit, and I thought Toronto came out early with a sense of urgency and put together maybe their best first half of basketball collectively that I've seen in quite some time. But you know, Brook Lopez, 5 guys in double figures. Eric Bledsoe almost was in double figures himself. It was a collective effort. It wasn't just, as you said, Giannis leading the way. The others stepped up and played big. Yeah. And that's what you expect at home.
Yes.
You know, on the road, you want your stars
More
to
difficult.
sort of come through for you. But at home, your bench player, your complementary players, you want them and expect them to play well, and they did here in Game 1.
We'll have a lot more, but one more thing on the Bucks before I want to get to Kawhi. And obviously, we'll have the coaches intermittently. But when you sit there and you look at the Bucks, Middleton an all-star, Eric Bledsoe was right on that fringe of playing like an all-star. Those 3 players shot 14 of 40 from the floor, 2 of 15 from 3. There's no way if I told you those numbers, you would think before the game they'd win this game. And they won the game. And Lopez and Brogdon, really the 2 players that stand out. Malcolm was terrific. They upped his minutes to 26 minutes, 15 points. He doesn't turn the ball over. He plays well defensively. He hit a couple of big threes. He was huge as well.
I thought Brogdon definitely was huge. You know, not only from an offensive standpoint, but defensively, I thought when they needed a stop, when they needed someone to really guard, he was able to shut down either Lowry, who had a great game, but I thought Brogdon got some key stops at the end. I thought whenever he was matched up against Kawhi, at least he made Kawhi work. And we heard Reggie Miller talking about, hey, Kawhi's getting tired. And you can see at the end, particularly the last 3 minutes of the game, when Toronto needed a bucket. They never went to Kawhi, but I think fatigue had set in on Kawhi also. And I thought Reggie Miller hit the nail on the head when he kept pointing it out during the course of the game, that Kawhi was wearing down and he didn't have enough offensive punch at the end of the game.
Part of figuring out how to get your stars at their best, and I'll use the term we use now, is load management within the game. And how many minutes, and understanding the usage. Yeah, Kawhi took all those shots, but he's also defending the best player on the other side. Yeah. Now you come into the series, 42 minutes for Siakam, 42 for Kawhi. That's a symptom, G, of what we talked about in pregame could be the difference in the series. That Toronto doesn't have any depth. I mean, Brogdon outscored their bench by himself, 15-12. You can't have that. You got to get some minutes from somebody else because Kawhi looked exhausted in the fourth quarter.
And look, he has every reason to be
Absolutely.
exhausted.
No, absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
has certainly been fantastic, and his usage rate on both ends of the floor off the charts. And look, this is Toronto. This is who they are. They're going to go 8 deep, and they did that throughout the Philadelphia series. Maybe there's still some fatigue left over from that. But if you're Toronto, there's some encouraging things that happen here in this game. I mean, first of all, Kyle Lowry got back to being aggressive, playing, the way that we're accustomed to seeing him play. And quite honestly, it was a close game down the stretch. It could have gone a couple different ways. Danny Green had a turnover. There was a steal against Giannis in transition, 2 bad three-pointers by Toronto. So, 8 points, but, there was a stretch there with about a minute and a half left where if Toronto executes a little bit better and maybe knocks down a shot here, they could have easily stole this game.
But this is part, I want to follow and ask you about this, G, because that's part of it is I wrote down 1:10 to go. Raptors are down by 4. Giannis drives to the lane. We were all talking about it as it happened. A steal. I think it might have been Lopez who helped with that steal. They get a steal, and they go the other way. Danny Green, yes, he's open in the corner, but Danny Green didn't. He hit 1-3 in the game. He took the shot. Then Kyle, off a long rebound, just comes in. Deep shot, not really in rhythm, and you never get Kawhi the touch. Now, you got a 2-possession game with 1:10 to go. You got it right. You need like the new version of Kyle to come back for that moment, don't you see? I'm not trying to get on a guy who was 10 15.
No.
But in that moment, you need to slow it down and isolate Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, and the basketball gods had given you a gift in terms of getting the offensive rebound and getting it
Correct.
back.
Right.
And when you get that basketball as the point guard, you got to slow it down and then try to get it to Kawhi.
Right. Who could and one if anything else. Here's Coach Bud.
Steady. I think we always talk about our defense. We start with it, and I think the way that the guys competed and got after it defensively in the second half, and particularly the fourth quarter, just stands out to me. And the depth, Malcolm coming off the bench and playing the way he did, and just all the different guys we get contributing, and then obviously, big game from Brook on both ends of the court, and we feel like we can get better. To get this win after pretty significant days without playing, I think hopefully we'll be better between now and game 2.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. But is this the best you've seen Brook play, just in all facets of the game, getting inside, shooting from outside, and playing defense?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that does stand out is, the putbacks and the stuff around the basket, particularly in the first half. We were, kind of struggling for scoring and just anything offensively. And he was able to kind of manufacture a couple things. And obviously in the second half, the threes and the spread that he gives us. And then defensively, I thought, we'll look at the tape, but I thought he was there, several times in the fourth quarter. Making blocks, making big-time contests, rebounding. Certainly in a big moment, that was a great Brook Lopez tonight.
Eric named The Athletic, but Kawhi takes just 5 shots in the fourth quarter. He scores just 2 points in the fourth quarter. Just what do you think of the job that Chris and Malcolm did on him for the game?
Yeah, we talked about just the individual pride it takes, with whoever has that assignment. And, for the majority of the night, it was Chris and Malcolm. And to be able to kind of tag team him, and then the fourth quarter, hopefully, between him seeing those 2 different guys all night and the activity around those 2 guys, we'll take that fourth quarter. We certainly can't rest or think that it doesn't take the same effort and the same activity going into the next game, start to end against Kawhi.
Bud, Tim Reynolds with the AP. It's not uncommon when you see a team playing from behind all night like you guys were for like 37, 38 minutes. There just comes a point where you guys run out of gas, where teams tend to run out of gas. You guys seem to find another gear. What is it about your group that you guys can be down for 3 quarters in the biggest game of your season and then somehow just put it together like it was nothing in the fourth?
Well, hopefully it speaks to our depth. First and foremost, I think we're got a lot of guys that are capable, that can contribute, that, confident on both ends of the court. I think it speaks a little bit to the character of the group. They just stick with it. I think it's become a little bit of a theme in the playoffs. I think eventually, hopefully, we feel like if we stick with what we're doing, good things will happen for us.
Kane Pittman with the pick and roll. Bud, Malcolm, you spoke about him already, but it felt like early in the game he hit a couple of threes that, even though it was early, you really needed them at the time. So, obviously, second game back, how good was it to have him hitting those big shots again, and what do you take from that?
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Again, the first half, I don't think we were very good, as a group. And Malcolm was one of those guys that kept us afloat. We already talked about Brook kind of keeping us afloat in the first half. And he really did it. I think, what he's doing defensively is impressive too. Just, I think, second game back after, not playing for a significant period of time. It's impressive. And we certainly needed him tonight.
Coach Greg Matzik from WTMJ. Under 40% from the field and 25% from three, that doesn't often lead to a playoff win. What does it say about your team, or that you're able to come through like you were able to, especially with that fourth quarter?
Hopefully it says we'll be better when we shoot the ball the next game. It's just, we talk about defense. I'm sure you guys that are around here just get tired of hearing about it, but you can bring your defense every night, and that's what we expect. And there's going to be nights when you don't make shots, and you got to just continue to do well or give it defensively. And if you do that, you maybe can break through and find a way to win on a night when you really don't shoot very well offensively or play that well offensively.
Eric named The Athletic. What do you think of Giannis's play tonight? It felt like he kind of imposed his will there in the fourth quarter with the driving kick and then defensively as well.
Yeah, I think Giannis was similar to our whole group. A lot of positives as the game went on. I think as we look at the film, we'll probably see that, I think he's making a lot of good reads, a lot of good decisions. We got to shoot the ball well around Giannis. And then, I think Giannis will play better. I think he's, again, playing without 6 days for him. He needs the rhythm of the game and everything. So, I think it's great to get a win with him. I thought he was good, but I think he can be better.
Coach Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports. With the layoff that you guys had, were you kind of prepared a little bit for maybe a little bit of a sluggish start because you can't really recreate the intensity of playoff basketball in practice settings?
Yeah, any coach that goes into a game without playing playing a game for 6 days is, very worried. How are you going to play? I don't know that I would use the word sluggish, but that's just being nitpicky. It's just how are you going to play? How are you going to execute? Just all those things. It's impossible to replicate in practice, and you're also incredibly conscientious of staying healthy during those 6 days. So I think we're just all glad to have played, and certainly to get the win. I'm sure they'll be better Tuesday or Thursday, whenever it is, and Friday, I guess. And us too. Too many days.
Bud, there was a timeout with 3:31 or something like that left, and you're down 2. You guys haven't been in too many close games, it feels like, for quite a while. So being able to play through that, start with defense, as you said, and get the win, is this a good thing for this team to go through that?
Yeah, I think the more experiences you get in close games and what are you going to do and how are you going to find opportunities, particularly offensively. But, I think what we've found and what we've done most of the year when we are in a close game, we're still going to push it. We're still going to play in transition, play in a spread situation, and take what the defense gives us. So certainly, it's big last 3.5 minutes to come out of that timeout and then close the game out the way they did.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. You guys were positive in the minutes with both Chris and Giannis on the bench. What did you see from those groups that was kind of effective?
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look at the film, but I think, the guys just play together. I think George is out there lots of times during those stretches. Malcolm, hit shots. Brook stepped up. Hopefully we have a way of playing where we can function on both ends, with or without, Giannis and Kawhi, or Giannis and Chris. And the guys just did it. It's the stuff we work on, practice, talk about. We want everybody to feel confident and participate. And when those guys aren't out there, that's what they got to do. Thank you.
Overall from their 3 best players and still wins. None of this is going to make Nick Nurse very happy.
Nick Doug Smith, the Toronto Star. Do you think the cumulative effect of the last week or so got you guys in the last 7 or 8 minutes of that game?
I don't think so, Doug. I thought, you could maybe think that or whatever, but I thought we were right there. I thought we answered a bunch of runs, and we were still there to like 198. Man, we had a couple great looks, and we had a couple bad offensive possessions before that point, but we still clawed it back, and we had a couple great looks there down the stretch. Had a couple good defensive possessions that didn't end up going our way, but we just those few plays there from about 2 minutes to 1 minute, right, back and forth that were probably the difference in the game. I didn't see, any fatigue or any of that kind of stuff that was like, it's a big problem or anything.
Nick, Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. Before the game, you kind of described the defensive needs as essentially just having to be everywhere in the paint out. How do you think you guys handle that, and how, I guess, stressful and taxing is it to play against that team defensively when you do have to essentially be everywhere?
Well, it was okay. I thought our defense was pretty good, right? I thought we were executing our game plans really well. I didn't feel like we were under that much stress on there. The biggest thing is the transition, right? I mean, when you blow a layup or you get knocked down or something and the ball's still in play, they come at you in transition. Those were the only real tough offensive possessions we had. I thought, I got to look at it a little bit more too.
Nick, Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports. When you're preparing to face a team that's had a layoff like Milwaukee, do you see that as an opportunity to kind of come out and maybe take advantage of a group that hasn't really had that intensity for a couple days?
Well, I mean, I think the one thing that we all know about these playoff games is you better have the intensity or you're in trouble, right? And I thought we did a good job of bringing some effort and pace and physicality at the beginning, but I don't think it'd be any different if they were coming off back to back to back or hadn't played in 5 days. I think both teams are trying to come out there and play with some intensity and effort and force and all those and pace and all those things.
Nick, Kate Burness, TSN. Kyle Lowry tonight, his best performance of the postseason, 7 of 9 from 3, saving Danny's pass. Can you talk about his performance tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he was really good, right? And it's not easy. We talked a little bit about pregame. They got a whole bunch of guys, kind of athletic guards, and they run a bunch of different guys at him, and they're doing a decent job of limiting his touches. So I thought it was good that he could get the ball as much as he did. He stepped into all of them, and it's been a while since he's had one of those nights where every time you pulled up, he thought he was going to make it. It was like every time he let it go tonight, you were like, that's going in, and that was good to see because we've seen those a lot, in the regular season and all that stuff. But he was great, man. He was fighting like heck out there. I thought he threw his body in front of people on a few things. Didn't get the whistle on a few. He always draws charges, and there was tons of charges going on out there. But he still was taking them. That's his thing, and he was good. He was awesome.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Nick, I know you haven't seen tape yet, and kind of almost follow on Doug's question a little bit. Everybody but Kyle was 0 for 15 in the fourth. Just without studying film, did you like the looks you were getting for the most part? I know things got a little bit hairy there.
Yeah, I think when we did get shots, they were pretty good. I think we got hemmed up a couple times, and turned it over, and that's like the recipe for a bucket the other direction, right? So I think for the most part we did. I'm just trying to think. Kawhi had an ISO that ended up in a turnover. Danny had one there. I'm just trying to think of a really tough one. Maybe Kawhi had a fall away with a couple guys on him, but I can't think of any right now without watching the tape. Pretty happy. I think even Mark had a clean look at a 3. Danny with down 4 right away there with about 1:20 to go. We kick it out, clean look. We got the rebound, and Kyle took a pretty deep one. Mark had a couple 8 to 10 footers that were there. So that's the best I can do with my memory right there.
Brandon Hurley with the Carroll Times-Herald. Nick, you talk a lot about intensity and focus. With you guys being so close to stealing a game 1 here in Milwaukee, what do you do to get your guys refocused for Friday night and try to get a win there?
Yeah, I think Brandon, that you don't really have much choice, right? Like it's just we're learning that each one of these games is critical. I thought we played a tough tonight, a tough brand of basketball for the most part. We gave ourselves a chance to win on the road in a Eastern Conference final, and it didn't turn out. But we put in a lot of work. But you got to file that one away, right? And put in more work next time. That's really where it starts. We gotta get some rest here tonight. Focus in on our film, figure out some adjustments, build some confidence, right? And but then again, once it gets ready to go up for game 2, we got to be tough.
Nick, Reed Forgrave with CBSSports.com. Psychologically, for your team, especially with a game 1, would you rather have a game where you play clearly well enough to win and then lose in the final couple minutes, or would you rather lose by 13?
No, neither one of those. Neither one of those feels good, man. It's a good question though, because it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? If it's a buzzer beater and you lose, or if it's a 30-point blowout and you lose, that game's over. And we saw that in that last series, right? We went and blow them out in the first game, and it was, look, it was going to be a cruise, but we know better than that. These teams are too good. Both teams are good. And it's good chance. I thought the Philly series was going to be a long one, and I'm good chance this one will be too.
Nick, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. How would you compare the way the ball moved and maybe some of the distribution in the first half versus the second half or down the stretch?
Well, not terribly bad, Michael. I didn't like the start to the second half. Right. We did all that work in the first half to kind of control that thing, and it really seemed like we had them reeling defensively, right? We were just getting, the only bad shots we were taking were because of ourselves, right? If we looked and touched the paint and sprayed it around and made another play and went into another action, and we were finding some good stuff. I thought like 3 of the first 4 possessions, we took it hard down the paint, got rocked big time physically, and they went down and laid it in. They got 4 layups to start the first half, and those were off 3 turnovers for sure. It might have been 4. So, if we're going to take it in there and there's going to be some hitting and slapping and stuff, we got to play through it and make sure we don't turn it over. Because again, turnovers against this team are trouble. Thanks very much, everyone. All right, thank you.
It was a big night for the Bucks, even without the biggest of nights from their best player. We'll hear from Giannis and the Bucks, who win Game 1 at home when we come back on Game Time. And it was excelente for Kyle Lowry. Become a different version, more of passing and facilitating, not as much needed for his shot. We know he can shoot the basketball. How about a playoff career high with 7 threes? He was 7 of 9 beyond the arc, 10 of 15 overall, had 30 points in the game, and really was the only player for the Raptors seemingly that scored in the fourth quarter. He talks after a tough loss in Game 1.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Kyle, it's always frustrating to lose in the playoffs. How much more frustrating is it that this one comes on a night where you guys led for 37 or 38 of the minutes?
Pretty frustrating. The fourth quarter killed us, 32-17. They outplayed us in that fourth quarter. They got a little bit more aggressive. They made some big shots, made some big plays. It sucks when you lose like that. But we had a chance, and we got to learn from it, make an adjustment. Stay even keeled, never not too high, not too low. Just look at the film and get better.
Eric Smith, Sportsnet. Kyle, you mentioned the fourth quarter struggles. With 3:30, you guys take the lead by 2. Down the stretch, you go scoreless. Was it something they were doing? Did it come down to simply just missing shots? Were you still getting opportunities? What'd you think?
Turnovers, missed shots. We just didn't execute as sharply as we could have. I got to go back and watch the film. I think we got a couple good shots and we missed some shots, but we just didn't finish the game well. We just didn't play well to finish the game.
Brandon Hurley, Carroll Times Herald. Kyle, you had a big game tonight. How do you keep that going forward next on Friday and come out with a win?
Just whatever it takes to win the game. Individual stuff doesn't do anything for me. I want to win games. Maybe we got to figure out what we could do better to win games, win a game and close it out and play better.
Last couple questions, Mike, if you need them.
Thank you. Oh, shoot. Yes, Mike.
Kyle, how would you compare how the ball moved and the distribution in the first half to the second half?
I think our pace wasn't good enough in the second half. I think that's where we struggled in the second half. Our pace wasn't good enough. I think the pace that we played with in the first half was the pace we need to play with throughout the game. I think that will be a big thing for us is pace and dictating the pace of the game.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, so there's Kyle Lowry, who, look, they're not in the spot they were even in at the end of the game without him because everybody else seemed to kind of go away. And Siakam and Kawhi specifically not good in the fourth, which could have something to do with minutes, which we'll get to in a second because that's a big...
It's in transition, and he's known as a three-point shooter. The basketball gods, they give you hope, right? So they give you the second rebound. That second rebound that comes out, I thought as a point guard in that position, even though Lowry had been hot and on fire, in that position, you got to make sure that you get a good shot down because it's still going to be a two-possession game. Whether you make a three or whether you make a two, you got to get it somehow. You got to settle it down and get it into Kawhi's hands because you know he's going to get you a better shot or he's going to get to the foul line, which will give you a chance to set your defense. And now you put the pressure back on Milwaukee to make another field goal because then you're only down two. I thought those 2 threes, and I'm not faulting Lowry. I'm just saying at that particular point in time, after Green missed a shot and the long rebound comes back to you and you're 2-3 feet behind the three-point line, which you had made those shots all night, with 50 seconds to go, that's probably the time where you say, wait a minute, let's make sure we get a good one. But you can't complain about it too much because he played a great game.
Old Kyle came back. They needed new Kyle at that point. Old Brook and new Brook ended up being just what they needed. And quite an attire there from Mr. Lopez. He and Giannis are here.
Kane Pittman with the pick and roll. Brook, podium games. You feel like this is overdue?
I don't want to say that. I think we did a great job of just sticking with what we've been doing, all postseason long. And, shots didn't go in early, but, we did a great job of grinding it out. We played great defense and just stuck with it, and then things started going our way.
Eric named The Athletic. Giannis, you guys hold Kawhi to 2 fourth-quarter points. He takes just 5 shots. What did you think of the job Chris and Malcolm were able to do on him tonight?
Amazing job. Obviously, is the vocal point of their offense, and I think they did a great job just sending him left. He's trying to go right and get to a spot and rise up or go all the way. But I think guys like Brook, Nico, Ersan did a great job just being active behind and just showing him body. So, Kawhi is Kawhi. He's going to hit shots. He's going to make tough shots. But at the end of the day, trying to make it as tough as we can, and in the fourth quarter, it was tough for him. And I think we made him feel us the whole game, and that's what we're trying to do as a team. Trying to make him play 1 against 5.
Greg Matzik from WTMJ. Brook, it felt like you were on the cusp of breaking through and taking a lead multiple times in the second half, finally able to do it in the fourth quarter, and then it sort of stayed in your favor. What allowed for that breakthrough? It seemed like every time you had a little run, Toronto was able to answer.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't quit as a unit. We keep pounding, and grinding, and and then we finally got there. But there's no quit in our team. I don't think it's really in our DNA at all. Any of our guys.
Hey, Brook, Sopan Deb with the New York Times. For a lot of your career, taking 11 threes in a game would have been, let's say, unusual or kind of unheard of. And now you're not only expected to take those shots, you're making them. How do you assess how you've kind of rebirthed your career? And also, are you having more fun playing this style than you did in the first half of your career?
I've always tried to have fun. When I go out and play basketball, I obviously love playing the game, but no question I've been having a great time here. It's just a fun group to be around, a fun coaching staff, fun teammates, great teammates, unselfish, just best guys in the world. And, I think it's just embedded in the team. We have trust in one another that we can all take and make shots if we're open. And, honestly, we're frustrated at each other if we don't shoot it when we're open. If we have a good shot, we got to take it. And, a lot in the first half, they weren't going down. It wasn't our best shooting night, but when they're there, we still have to take them. And that's how I feel about each one of us when we're shooting the ball.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Giannis, just with the way that Brook kind of gave you guys life at multiple times during this game, just what's going through your mind as you see the way that he's finishing inside, he's making threes, he's blocking shots, he's just doing everything for you guys?
This is the Brook we all know and we all love. We want him to be aggressive, especially against the series. Marc Gasol is trying to be active, he's trying to help a lot, and he's going to be wide open most of the time, and he's going to knock down shots like he did tonight. And especially when he's going, we got to find him even more and more and more. I think he did a great job also, going for the offensive rebounds, giving us extra possession, giving us extra points, and he got to do this series. And what else he did? He did a lot tonight. He blocked shots, and he definitely set the tone defensively.
Brook, Tim Reynolds with the AP. When you finally got that first three to go down in the second quarter, the cameras caught you screaming for what seemed like a minute, finally, when you finally got that one to go. Was that all it took, was just one to go down for everything just to feel like it was back in rhythm for you?
Yeah. And again, that's what my teammates have been telling me. I know George Hill specifically, and then this guy too, just stick in my mind, just, keep shooting the ball. You just need one to go down. Keep letting it fly. And, that one felt good. I had a few other ones that felt like they were right there, but, our team just, we just stick with it. We all struggled a bit shooting the ball, but, I know I did. And, I'm so thankful to have a group of teammates that support me 100%, regardless if it's going in or out. They just want me to keep going out there and doing my job.
Andrew Wagner for Forbes Sports. Either of you guys, when you have a week off, you can practice, you can scrimmage, but it's kind of hard to replicate the intensity of a game, and especially a playoff game. Was it a little tough getting right back into the swing of things in the opening couple of minutes there?
I got you, Giannis. I always got you. You know that. I think it can be. Like you said, there's no perfect way to replicate the environment in that situation. And we scrimmaged, we played against coaches, we had token defense. We went as far as creating jerseys, with the Raptors names and numbers on them, so we could have, a little scout team and everything. But there's nothing quite like being in that environment, and our fans did a great job. They brought it tonight. They were absolutely supporting us. And, maybe it took a quarter or two, but I think our mind was in the right place. We were playing with a lot of energy, playing with toughness. Again, shots weren't going down, but, we were in a much better place from the get-go than we were game one against the Celtics.
Steve Ashburn, NBA.com. It seemed like, when you're out there in space shooting those shots, the crowd is sort of living and dying with each attempt. What's your emotional level like on a miss and a miss and a miss and then a make? I mean, how does it change for you?
I mean, I definitely get frustrated with myself, but again, got my teammates' support behind me, and that means the world to me. It does everything for me, and it keeps me going and keeps me firing those threes. And here, the fans as well. It definitely gives me a lot of support. It's just, I mean, the fans were great out there tonight. They definitely were a lifeline for us. And we absolutely rode them as well.
Peter Bukowski, Dime Magazine. Giannis, at one point, you guys were shooting 17% from three. The math says you keep shooting, you're probably going to make some of them, but my guess is you're not in the huddle saying the math, the math, the math. So what are you saying to your teammates? What is Coach Bud saying to you guys to get you to just do what you do and let it fly?
I think in the second quarter or late in the first quarter, he told us to keep shooting the ball. If we're open, stop hesitating. I think in one play I was open in the corner and I didn't shoot the ball, and I think he ended up in Chris taking a tough shot. He wants us to trust one another, keep moving the ball, and when we're open to shoot the ball, and that's what we're doing all year. That's what we're going to keep doing. Tonight we were able to hit 11 threes. Didn't shoot it great, 25%, but at the end of the day, when I'm trying to come downhill, when Bledsoe's trying to come downhill, we're going to make the right pass, and we know that our teammates going to knock shots down. So we're going to keep trying to be playing the right way. That's what Coach Bud wants us to do, and eventually, we don't care about the math. Eventually, they're going to go in, and if you keep shooting, that's how you win games.
Michael Lee with The Athletic. Giannis, how good did it feel that you didn't have to have some superhuman MVP type performance, and that when you sat, things didn't go sideways for this group? What does it say about this team?
It says a lot, and it definitely feels amazing. Usually, when things don't go well, in the past, the team didn't do great, but this year is insane. Even though I don't play well, the team is able to respond and to hold their own, and guys are coming off the bench, playing the right way, and being a plus for the team. So it feels good. It feels good not to be able to come every night and try to put my body in the line and give everything I got for us to win a game. And I didn't have the great game, but at the end of the day, my team had great games, and we're able to get this win.
Malika Andrews, ESPN, all the way in the back, guys. Hi.
There you are.
I'm just wondering, you guys haven't played a whole lot of close late game scenarios out in the playoffs, and what did you learn from this? And then do you think this was needed to win in not a blowout fashion in order to continue to move forward?
I got you. That's no worries. Take a break. I think it just I think it was definitely needed. It goes to show, we can close games out. Thank you, Giannis. In multiple ways and different fashions. We have a lot of confidence in this group, and all throughout the season and the playoffs, different guys have been stepping up. Different guys have been having big nights, and it was definitely good to see us win in a different way tonight. I think going forward, we'd be all right though if they weren't all like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's good because sometimes when the team face adversity, you can see how the team respond, and I think the team did a great job just playing hard and responding the right way. I think we need games like this because not every game going to be a blowout, not every game going to be easy. So we're going to go back tomorrow, watch the tape, try to get better, and I think this game definitely made us better. That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We continue on Game Time. Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors fall in Game 1 on the road. Here he is after the loss in Milwaukee.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Kawhi, obviously without the benefit of seeing film, what do you think went wrong for you guys offensively in the fourth?
A couple key turnovers. Missed some easy layups, some wide open threes. And didn't play too well defense. They ended up scoring the highest quarter points in the fourth, 32 points. And offensive rebounds pretty much summed it up.
Kawhi, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. Did you feel like this was a game that was there for you guys to win? Do you feel like you kind of let one get away here?
Yeah, we came out with a good first quarter. Like I said, and after that, they pretty much outscored us every quarter. Just better defense. Hopefully we can make some of our open looks. Had a lot of clean looks in the second half. And, we got to limit them. They can't have these many offensive rebounds, especially at home.
Any other questions?
Michael Lee with The Athletic. Were legs at all a factor, coming off the game just playing 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and then just the emotion just from all of that and trying to come out in the fourth quarter?
I mean, it could be, but it's no excuses. We all out on the floor. Like I said, we had open looks that we could have made. We started off the game well, just didn't finish it up too great.
Thanks very much, everyone.
For Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors, maybe another night of rest will help them be able to, as a team, play in the fourth quarter the way they did for the first three. It looked like they'd be able to close it out. Milwaukee was the fresher team, the deeper team. Next game coming up on Friday, and that really is where, as we look for the final thoughts, I think you got to go, because I got to go back to it. 42. So going into this game, Lowry had averaged 37 minutes, guys, in the postseason, which is a lot. Kawhi 37, Siakam 36. Siakam and Kawhi played 42 minutes tonight. Ibaka, who played 29 minutes in that great Game 7, only 17 minutes tonight. I know the rotation needs to be smaller than what Dwayne was doing last year. That was all the talk. But I don't need this small, maybe too small, Zeke. They need more from that group as a whole if they're going to have a chance in this series.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And we can look no further than out west to Golden State. And I thought when Durant went out and Steve Kerr had to regain the trust in his bench again, because I thought he had lost, trust in his bench. And they found their way back in that Houston series, and now they're strength in numbers. I think the same thing needs to happen here in Toronto, and you got to somehow figure out a way to get Ibaka out on the floor more, have him feeling good about himself. And sometimes you just may have to play some difficult lineups out there where you may have to play a little bigger. Milwaukee plays bigger. Sometimes they'll have Lopez, Mirotic, and also Giannis out on the floor. So they got 3 7-footers out on the floor. So you can find a way to get Serge more time.
Yeah, you got to use Ibaka to supplant the two. And look, you would say it's crazy, but we saw Jordan Bell, who was never going to get a sniff, it seemed. The way Van Vliet has played, does Jeremy Lin get 5 minutes to see? You can't be in a position, because here's the thing, G, and I said this to Zeke, and this is crazy for those of you at home. So Connaughton, Ilyasova, Hill, and Brogdon all played a lot of minutes off the bench. Guess what? DNP for Sterling Brown started a lot of games this year. DNP for DJ Wilson started a lot of games this year. DNP for Tony Snell could shoot and play defense. They not only have 4 guys they played, they got 3 who they would feel confident playing 20, 25 minutes, and you get a total of 39 minutes from 3 guys on your bench in Toronto. Not enough.
Not enough. I mean, obviously you look at the bench players for Toronto. You have, Jeremy Lin and Jody Meeks are older players who've been around. But haven't really played a whole lot, probably not in a great rhythm. And then some of the other guys are really just zero experience whatsoever. So I understand where Nurse is coming from. He's going to have to be creative, and maybe sub, within that 8, sub more frequently. Don't leave a Kawhi out there for so long. I think he left him out there until midway or late fourth quarter. Maybe get him in and out quick, using the timeouts as an extended period of time to be out. But I don't see him making a lot of changes. I would maybe play the bench a little bit longer, the guys that you have out there. But it's a tough situation. Milwaukee, they have depth. As you said, they have 9 guys, and Bud trusts them. They have other guys who he doesn't, if he has to put out there, he will. It's going to take a collective effort. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard was great. Kyle Lowry was great. But Marc Gasol, Danny Green, they weren't good at all. And everyone's going to have to be good and or great as a unit, which I think can happen. Yeah. I really do think can happen. But, they're going to have to play better against this team, no doubt.
Yeah, I remember this 42 minutes for Kawhi, not just a great offensive player. He's playing tough defense for the whole 42 minutes, too. Now go ahead and maximize all of that over and over and over again. We're tired thinking about it. We'll see you for game time and go through all of the highlights and then some. And then Friday night,